Superman didn't just land, he took off like a rocket. On preview night alone, the film pulled in over $22 million, instantly grabbing the biggest preview launch of the year. And the opening day, even more explosive. It raked in more than $56 million in just one day, setting the stage for a potential global juggernaut. Before I get into more details, y'all gotta stop cooking me in the comments for mispronouncing stuff. I get it, I talk fast, but we just hit 3,600 subs in under 5 weeks, and that's wild. Also, I'm giving away 5 Fantastic Four IMAX tickets. All you gotta do is be subscribed and comment W video down below. And yes, I can see who subbed, so no cheating. Alright, back into the video. Early projections guessed the film would open somewhere around 100 to 120 million domestically. After just the first 24 hours, that number's being pushed even higher. Some analysts are already calling it the biggest DC comeback since the Dark Knight era. With strong sales across North America and booming international numbers, the global weekend total is expected to fly past 200 million. The real reason this matters? Warner Brothers put everything on the line with this film. This isn't just another superhero reboot, it's the first chapter of James Gunn's new DC universe, and if it fails, the whole vision risks collapsing before it starts. No. But based on early turnout, audiences are showing up in droves, and they're leaving impressed. The film is already earning high praise from both die-hard fans and casual moviegoers. Strong word of mouth, positive reactions, and packed screenings are hinting at serious staying power.
I would actually love to see this Superman, and y'all know I'm so sick of the MCU, everything got to be connected. I've been saying just make one good movie, and that's what this is. Just make one good movie.
If this momentum keeps up, Superman could easily become the movie that lifts the entire DC brand and hits that elusive billion-dollar milestone. And believe it or not, this is just the beginning, because what happens next could be even bigger. The numbers scream success, but what are people actually saying? People are calling this Superman a heartfelt, hopeful reboot that feels faithful to the spirit of the classic character. They praise the tone. It's sincere without being sentimental, quirky without being silly. It strikes the right balance between epic stakes and emotional clarity. At the center of all this is David Corenswet as Superman. Reviewers are zeroing in on him as the heart of the movie. They describe his portrayal as earnest, grounded, and charming. A Superman who smiles. A Clark Kent who feels like someone you'd run into at your university coffee shop.
You are going to become Superman forever, inspire millions of people around the world. How do you feel? How do you live with that?
Nice question.
I mean, if insofar as that's true.
It's true.
That kind of performance is rare in big superhero movies, and critics say it anchors everything. Let's talk about the emotion in the film. Scenes with powerful visuals, people in flight, looped into that are quieter moments. A phone call, a simple look, a conversation about hope. Critics highlight how moments that could feel cheesy instead land hard because they're motivated by character, not spectacle. What about the villains and supporting cast? Well, not everyone is perfect. Some say the Nemesis lacks the iconic presence of past Supermans. But even those critiques admit he's a strategic, cerebral, threatless brute force, more chess match. Some supporting players get less screen time than fans hoped, but the scenes they do have feel memorable. On the fan front, online buzz is catching fire. Reddit threads and social platforms are lighting up with stories from people who came in skeptical and left cheering. One common theme? This feels like Superman again. That phrase shows up over and over. Some say, sure, it's not Snyder, but I didn't know I needed this Superman until now. The emotional consensus feels surprisingly unified, especially for a franchise that's been divided for years. Between CinemaScore polling and grassroots chatter from movie message boards to group chats, audiences are giving it high marks. Not just entertainment value, but telling friends, hey, this feels different, in a good way. Audience reactions also emphasize the tone shift. Instead of a brooding, trauma-based hero, this Superman embraces compassion, humor, and idealism. That catches some off guard, but the majority seem to welcome it. It's described as a tonal leap forward, one that feels intentional rather than forced.
It's really important to me that every project has its own stamp on it. So this movie is very different from the R-rated movie that we're making, a body horror movie with Clayface. It's very different from, the Sergeant Rock movie we're developing. It's very different from Supergirl, which is a space fantasy with Craig Gillespie just walked by here a second ago who directed that.
In short, the film looks good, the hero feels authentic, the tone is refreshing, and most importantly, fans and reviewers alike are talking about how this might actually revive trust in DC storytelling. The buzz isn't just emotional, it's translating to ticket sales and fast. After a massive Thursday night preview and a strong Friday performance, Superman is already flying higher than most predicted. Early estimates had the film pulling in just over $90 million across opening weekend. but the numbers are pushing past that. Not only did it surpass the Batman's preview earnings, but it's also outpacing recent Marvel openers that had much larger marketing campaigns. Now here's where things get serious. This isn't just a one-weekend win. Industry insiders are now predicting that Superman has genuine legs, the kind of long-lasting buzz that propels a movie from solid hit to billion-dollar juggernaut. What's driving this momentum? First, repeat viewings. Anecdotally, fans are already returning for a second or third watch. The lighter, emotionally resonant tone gives it a feel-good rewatchability that heavy superhero films often lack. People aren't just seeing it once they're bringing friends, family, and even casual fans along for the ride. Second, the word of mouth is unusually strong. With a cinema score that trends high and early audience polls rating it above most DCEU films, the film is quickly shedding the baggage of the franchise's past misfires. In fact, some outlets report that audience anticipation is increasing after release, a rare but powerful sign. Then there's the global angle. Overseas markets are showing up in a big way, with international ticket sales outpacing domestic in several key regions. Unlike some recent superhero films that struggled to gain traction outside the US, Superman is performing across the board. It's nostalgic enough to please older fans and modern enough to hook newer ones. And don't forget the merchandising and cultural momentum. Clips from the film are going viral. Fan edits, cosplay, and analysis videos are flooding TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Cornsweat's Superman is becoming a visual staple, something marketable, memeable, and instantly iconic. That kind of cultural traction is priceless. Put all that together, repeat viewings, strong word of mouth, global performance, and cultural stickiness, and you've got the blueprint for a billion-dollar run. Not just because of IP recognition, but because this actually feels like a fresh start. Superman has a wide runway. The question now isn't, can it break $1 billion? It's, how fast will it get there? This wasn't just a movie. For James Gunn, this was a test, and the results are loud and clear. Superman is a win. When Gunn took over the DC universe, the pressure was brutal. He wasn't just replacing a director, he was replacing an entire broken system. Years of misfires, canceled projects, and fractured continuity had left fans burnt out and confused. Gunn promised to wipe the slate clean, to rebuild from the ground up. Superman was the cornerstone of that plan. If this movie failed, the entire DCU could have crumbled before it even started. But now, everything is wide open. Studio insiders are already calling Superman the true reset the DC brand needed. It's not just a box office win, it's a cultural one. And that kind of victory gives James Gunn something incredibly rare in Hollywood: creative leverage. This film is no longer just a chapter, it's the foundation. Expect fast movement on the rest of Gunn's slate. Projects like The Authority and Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, suddenly have a lot more weight behind them. Why? Because audiences have bought into Gunn's tone, vision, and casting style. They've accepted the Superman, and that means they're ready for what's next. Behind the scenes, it's not just about green lights, it's about tone. Superman isn't gritty, it isn't brooding, and it doesn't lean too far into slapstick. It strikes a balance between heart, hope, and heroism. That tone is now the template. Other DCU films will likely follow its emotional blueprint because Gunn now has the data to prove it works. And let's talk about that cast. David Corenswet, Rachel Brosnahan, and the rest of the ensemble are no longer risky unknowns. They're hits, and that alone changes how Warner Brothers will treat this universe. We're not in wait-and-see mode anymore. We're in build fast and go big territory.